Vancouver plus 140, Minnesota minus 165. Minnesota is kind of a confusing team right now, Brian. I'm curious what you have for us with that team.
Yeah, they have been. They haven't been able to put any goals on the board, and that's been a problem pretty much all season for them. In fact, you go back for the month of February, I believe they only had one game where they beat Nashville 4-3, in which they scored more than 3 goals in a game. That said, if you take a look at the Minnesota schedule, starting on February 9th, they played 7 straight home games. 2 road games, went to Columbus and Toronto, not very far, not a lot of travel in that regard. Then they come home, play 2 more home games. This is their first time they've actually had to leave for an extended period in a month. I mean, they should be very fresh in this regard. They go to Vancouver, they go to Calgary, then they come back home, play Calgary once, then they're back on the road for 4 more games. So this is probably, if you're looking to play Minnesota on for the next week or two, probably the next 2 weeks, this is probably the best health you're going to get them in, or is they'll tire as the week goes on. But as of right now, they're a very fresh team. Vancouver is one of these teams that, I really don't think the coaching changes made much of a difference. They're not blowing big leads, but they're not getting big leads. So what can you do about that? But this Vancouver team has been up and down on the road and home lately. And if you take a look at their schedule, they're just starting a nice 6-game homestand. So we'll see what we get out of them now that they're able to stay home, get a little bit more practice time in with the new coaching staff, see what we get. But as of right now, I think the spot screams Minnesota here. Don't like to lay that kind of number on the road with a team that doesn't score very much. But that's the only way I take Minnesota based on the schedule.
All right, great stuff there, Bryan Leonard. And again, guys, we have actually extended the PT100 promo code. That's good until the end of the week. That's PT100. Get $100 off an NHL pass that includes the playoffs as well. You can use that for Bryan Leonard over at WagerTalk.com. You can also use it for Carmine at WagerTalk.com. Carm, 5 straight unders for the Minnesota Wild. Of course, now they're playing a team like Vancouver. Do you keep riding this under streak, or what do you have for us in this game?
I think so. I think it's one of the ones where if you like Minnesota and it's tough not to like Minnesota, then you take the under. It seems kind of correlated, and you look at Vancouver as well too, and obviously trading away some players, some scoring, but Thatcher Demko being in goal, and he should start tonight. And I'm going to make a prediction on that in a second. But him starting, he played 1 game. He got peppered by Dallas, and they still won that game 4-3 in OT in Dallas. I think there was 38 shots on goal. That was his first start in, I think, a couple of months. And I honestly believe that this is one of those things that he talked about getting traded. And I don't think he has a problem with getting traded, but I think any team that is looking at Thatcher Demko and how he's come back from that injury wants to see at least a couple starts out of him, and that's why tonight's start is an important one. If he plays extremely well, I'm going to go on a limb here and say, Andrew, the Vancouver Canucks move Thatcher Demko after tonight's game. If he has a very good game, there's going to be a team that's going to offer up something, and they're going to move him. I like the under here. I'm not going to pick a side because the price, I think, is a little too high on Minnesota, even though I think they're the right side. And I'm just going to take the under in this game. I think we see another one of those Minnesota low-scoring wins, 3-1. Who knows? I don't care. It's one of those ones. I don't care who wins. As Pablo says, I just like the under. So no goals or very few goals, and under 6 here. And then we see where that Thatcher Demko heads.
Yeah, it could definitely happen. There's going to be some goaltenders move. We haven't seen that many quite yet, and there's definitely some goalies that will be on the move. And you've talked about it, Carm. I feel like you're on the trade center right now. That's been your guy, so we'll see if you're correct on that one. But Demko, he's a great goalie. We'll see if he gets moved to a team that, as Brian stated, is a little bit better than Vancouver, because Vancouver, they haven't showed us much, even since the new coach. They haven't really showed us much there. So great stuff there, guys. And as for me, I like the under overall in this one. I think I would look towards team total under 2.5 for the Canucks. You can get that -110. I just it would really bug me if this was the the breakout game the Wild have, and they put up 5 goals or something, and we lose the full game under, but Vancouver only scores 1 or 2. So if I'm playing the under, I think I would just focus in on Vancouver because we could see Minnesota have themselves a game tonight.